Before we get started today, I wanted to go on a little rant, and it's not what you're thinking of. This is directed to the makers of cartoons, past and present, mostly past, but I think this trope might still be going on, and I'm talking specifically about the trope of the saintly put upon mouse and the evil predatory cat, because let me tell you, it's total BS. I mean, the cat's doing you a favor by going after that mouse because mice are vermin. They go in, they get on your food, they get their filthy paws all over your dishes, and they leave their poop everywhere. Have you read up on the term hantavirus? It's not something you want, people. Yeah, guess who's been having a rodent problem in this past week? I have a mouse trap over there, and I trapped 5 mice in the past week. In fact, in the space of 2 days, I trapped 5 mice. In fact, one time, I actually trapped 2 mice in the same trap. So, yeah. I'm not really very happy with mice right now, so as you might guess. Anyway, hello, Mike here. Sorry for that rant at the start there. You may be wondering why it looks a little different, and that's because I'm shooting this during the day instead of at night. Because last night, I got home at like midnight, actually probably after midnight, because I had gone to friend of the show John Kenny was having a photo exhibition with the other people in his class. He's been taking photography classes over at City College in San Francisco, and they had some of his pictures on display there, and he's really good. It's you should go and check it out if you haven't. But that's not what I'm here to talk about. Yeah, usually I shoot these at night, like after or before dinner, and then I edit the video and then process the video while I lie down for bed, and that's going to be a little bit different today, because I actually what I'm going to do now is, like, after I'm done with this, I'm gonna set up the video to process it. I'm gonna take a nap. So it's really not different at all. It's just the time of day has changed. Anyway, what I wanted to talk about this time, and I was like struggling for a subject to talk about, and actually we're going to continue on the vintage eats subject, but instead of talking about restaurants, we're going to talk about products, mostly discontinued products that don't exist anymore, as well as a couple other things. But I know everyone's going to say, oh, do space food sticks! And I was thinking, what food sticks? Everyone always says space food sticks, and I have no idea what they are. This is clearly a product from before my time. And they do Quake and Quisp. It's just, Quake is, again, before my time, and Quisp, I actually did remember seeing it at the Lewis store. And they didn't sell it at Safeway or Lucky. And because they only sold it at Lewis, I kind of assumed it was a sort of B-grade off-brand thing, so I never had it. Actually, the funny thing about, me and cereal is, except for Captain Crunch, which I certainly ate enough of for one lifetime, and Peanut Butter Crunch, usually if I become a fan of a cereal, it immediately becomes discontinued. Because, what are some of the ones that I had? Like, Waffle-O's, which are so much better than Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Just like everyone says, oh, to get Cinnamon Toast Crunch, it's so good, and I just thought it was really nasty. Maybe they changed the formulation because I had it when it first came out. It just tasted really awful. But I never expected that to take off. Waffle-O's, on the other hand, they weren't actually O-shaped. They were just, like, sort of square, like, little plump waffles, and they kind of tasted like syrup, maple syrup. They were kind of maple syrup flavored. I like those. They're very crunchy. They'd tear up the roof of your mouth good, like Captain Crunch would. Donuts, which oddly enough were like little powdered donuts. They were really shameless back then. The way they marketed stuff to the kids, like sugar was in the name of the cereal. They were actually had, cereal that was like miniature powdered donuts. It's just really shameless. Cookie Crisp, which I think they actually still make. Amazingly, I would have thought parents groups would have picketed that out of existence. Rocky Road, which I think got pulled from the market when a disgruntled employee just like threw a bunch of razor blades down in the hopper. Uh, was there any other ones that I'm thinking of? Buckwheats, which actually had were they were kind of like Wheaties, but they were flavored with honey. And I might be thinking of something else, but that's probably the oldest cereal that I remember that I really liked. Um, but yeah, it's more than the cereal. The thing that I really obsess over that they don't make anymore are breakfast squares, the General Mills breakfast squares. It's they were kind of like a really really dense three-layered brownie. There was like brownie and then filling and then another brownie, and it was all coated in uh, frosting, you know, like they have on ho-hos or uh, ding dongs, that really thick frosting. It's they came in several flavors. There was chocolate, there was cinnamon, which that's the only one. The Little Debbie spice cakes are kind of like a lighter and fluffier version of the cinnamon breakfast squares. So at least I can kind of get that. And the vanilla, which are, believe it or not, were probably the best flavor. I really like the vanilla ones. There were other flavors too, but I never had them. I remember seeing an advertisement. Someone had posted an ad for, I think it was peanut butter? Some offbeat flavor that you wouldn't expect that was outside of the the chocolate, vanilla, and strawberry flavor trilogy. But, yeah, when I was a kid, and we'd go to lunch, you know, it's like everyone's always talking about having lunch at the cafeteria, and we had a cafeteria in high school, and I made the mistake of forgetting my bag lunch one afternoon, and I never made that mistake again because I had their meat pizza, which is basically a slab of crust with this really thick, really artificial cheese on it, and slathered with what looked like something that was extruded out of a pastry bag. This sort of brownish, pinkish something in a zigzag pattern on top, and I took one look at that and I said, okay, I'm never forgetting my lunch again. Because I would always brown bag it. I would never go for the school lunch. In the elementary school, we didn't really have a cafeteria. We had a lunchroom, which was really just a portable building that was set in between the upper class and lower class. It was like they had the upper pod. I should really describe my elementary school to you because everyone looks at me really strangely when I do so. The upper pod, which was grades 4, 5, and 6, and the lower pod, which was grades 1, 2, and 3. The kindergartners were cordoned off in their own area behind a chain link fence, behind the office. It's like, don't go near the kindergartners. They're radioactive. I don't know. But yeah, but in between the two groups of students, they had the lunchroom, which is in a portable building. You had to like take a little metal staircase up to get in there. And I would usually eat outside on the benches out there, but I'd go in the lunchroom. They also used it as the music room. It's like for the kids who were in band and orchestra like me. But they would serve the food in there, and it was basically stuff like hot dogs and hamburgers, really unhealthy. This was another time, people. We had the playground over hard blacktop, so there was not really much call for health or safety for children back then. But yeah, I remember the system they had was they would have these cards, and you would just get it punched out every time you had. I guess it was just like you had another. You'd buy your parents would buy a certain amount, and then you get it punched out. And they had that for milk too, because they had like cartons of milk that they would give you, like these the little teeny half pint cartons of milk. I think I did get on the milk program, but I never actually got the school lunch. I would always brown bag it, and I would always get the same thing, which was the peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Peanut butter and usually strawberry jelly. My mom would sometimes put in grape jelly, but I prefer the strawberry. And cut into 4 squares with the crust cut off. I was a really snotty little brat. And I would just like demand that this was the only way that I would have it. And I preferred the white bread, of course, because kids always do. And my mother, in a way to try and make this a little bit healthy, she would put her foot down and demand that I would have wheat bread. And it was the worst wheat bread in the world, which is the Mrs. Wright's cracked wheat bread from Safeway. And they don't make this anymore, and thank God, because it was, I swear this stuff was just like sawdust that was press-formed into bread slices. It was just the worst stuff. There were like tree chunks hanging out of this bread. It was terrible. It was I swear it was just stuff that was swept up off the factory floor at the end of the day. But yeah, that's what I remember about my school bread, school lunch. So we're just going to cut it off here because I'm already kind of feeling kind of logy. So I'm going to just edit this video, take a nap, and we'll see you around.